Good morning. It is the year of our Lord 2021, and this reflection is brought to you from the Book of Common Prayer, Google Images, Facebook, and the incomparable Myrtle Street musicians. I'm going to start with our prayer from the prayer book for in the morning. This is another day, O Lord. I know not what it will bring forth, but make me ready, Lord, for whatever it may be. If I am to stand up, help me to stand bravely. If I am to sit still, help me to sit quietly. If I am to lie low, help me to do it patiently. And if I am to do nothing, let me do it gallantly. Make these words more than words and give me the spirit of Jesus. Amen. So good morning, good Maundy Thursday to you. Maundy from mandatum, which means command, the word that gives shape and force to this day, and the 3 days we begin now, is Jesus' command to love. We have come through the Lenten days of fast and reflection, and perhaps have found a new insight or a helpful practice, or questions that open another direction to explore. But now it's time to enter the journey from darkness to light, because there is no going around it, only through. A portion of Psalm 139. God, you have searched me out and known me. You know my sitting down and my rising up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You trace my journeys and my resting places, and are acquainted with all my ways. Indeed, there is not a word on my lips, but you, O Lord, know it altogether. You press upon me behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is so high that I cannot attain to it. Where can I go then from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I climb up to heaven, you are there. If I make the grave my bed, you are there also. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand will lead me, and your right hand hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will cover me, and the light around me turn to night, darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as the day. Darkness and light to you are both alike. For you yourself created my inmost parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will thank you because I am marvelously made. Your works are wonderful, and I know it well. My body was not hidden from you while I was being made in secret and woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes beheld my limbs, yet unfinished in the womb. All of them were written in your book. They were fashioned day by day, when as yet there was none of them. How deep I find your thoughts, O God, how great is the sum of them. If I were to count them, they would be more in number than the sand. To count them all, my lifespan would need to be like yours. Search me out, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my restless thoughts. Look well whether there be any wickedness in me, and lead me in the way that is everlasting. Look well whether there be any wickedness in me, and lead me in the way that is everlasting. Our lives go on from day to day, and much of it is ordinary, and some of it is delightful, And occasionally, or more than occasionally, it can be a real sadness, a problem, a challenge. But in our lives, we remember that after the darkness comes the light, after the burial comes the new birth. There are ways to see new things every day in our life. This is a letter that came this morning from a member of Meg's birth family back in Utah. She writes, "The older I get, the more I understand how much of life is shaped simply by your perspective. The challenges in life are so much clearer when you take a step back and get some perspective. The awful thing about perspective is that it doesn't usually come from the beautiful parts of life. Some people seem to be so good at co parenting after divorce. My ex husband and I are not those people. I wish we were, but we're not. So we only communicate by text and only about scheduling. Sad, but it works well enough. It has been so hard that admittedly, there have been so many times I wished I never had to deal with him again. And I know he has thought the same about me until 3 o'clock yesterday morning. As of 3 o'clock yesterday morning, I'll never feel that way about him again. At 3 o'clock that morning, my sweet friend, a friend whose relationship with his ex was as adversarial as mine, reached out to me to tell me he was on his way from Jackson to Las Vegas. In utter despair, he told me, although he'd spent the last few hours reading everything he could, he still didn't know what to say. He was at a loss for words. He was at a loss for exactly the right words to use. He was absolutely desperate to feel assured he was using the right words, the words he'd need to use to break his daughter's heart. There had been a horrific accident. His ex, her boyfriend, her boyfriend's two kids, and his daughter were in a head on collision. A head on collision that, by some miracle, had two survivors, his daughter and the boyfriend's son. At 3 in the morning, hours had passed since so many people had kissed their kids goodnight and bitched about how they wished they didn't have to deal with their ex ever again. Hours since I had thought my own ex was such a jerk. When my daughter told me we didn't get to use the tickets I'd bought to breakfast with the Easter Bunny because her dad had looked it up, and Easter's not a specified holiday on the official Utah custody calendar. I had looked it up, and even though he was right, I spent so much time that night thinking it was still a jerk thing to do when he had known a while ago I bought them thinking it was an official holiday. So while a whole lot of people, including me, were fast asleep after wasting our time worrying about petty things that don't actually matter, like different parenting styles, drop off times, and official holiday schedules, my friend was searching for the words to tell his baby girl, who's only Gia's age, that she'd never get to see her mommy again. Perspective. I told him to stop on the way to the hospital and print a picture of her mom so she could see her face. And then it made me sick when I thought about how much my own baby girl loves her daddy. I couldn't get the picture of his face out of my head. Not his face now, his face in one of the pictures she has in her room, her favorite picture of me and him a million years ago. We were only a few years older than Jackson is now. When I wished I never had to deal with him again, I certainly never envisioned any scenario where I'd have to carry that picture into a hospital. At 3 o'clock yesterday morning, I got some perspective. Maybe I'll forget this moment sometime down the road when he pisses me off, but I don't know. Because sometimes people have to search for the right words when there aren't any. Words they'll need forever, long after their baby girl's fractured wrist heals, but her heart never does. So this morning, I told Gia I had a great idea. She, her dad, and Jackson could use the tickets and go to the Easter Bunny breakfast, and they could send me a picture. And she was so excited. The awful thing about perspective is that it doesn't usually come from the beautiful parts of life. A quote from Mark Gerson in a writing about Passover. We ritually experience sadness at times of joy and joy at times of sadness to remind ourselves that neither should ever constitute the entirety of one's expectation. Listen now to the words of this hymn and watch the images as they reflect to us the lamentations and the joys that keep us singing.
You shall cross the barren desert, but you shall not die of thirst. You shall wander far in safety, though you do not know the way. You shall speak your words in foreign lands, and all will understand. You shall see the face of God and live. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. Blessed are your poor, for the kingdom shall be theirs. Blessed are you that weep and mourn, for one day you shall laugh. And if wicked tongues insult and hate you, all because of me, blessed are you. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I and